Hi, I'm William Grafton. I'm an attorney from Maryland with over 15 years experience helping people like you resolve their debt problems. Today we're going to talk about the differences between Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcies, the two most common forms of consumer bankruptcy. If you have any questions about the topic today, please feel free to give my office a call. You can even schedule an appointment to sit down and meet with me to discuss your options and what works best for you. Let me just start by saying that Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 are drastically different. Chapter 7 is what we call a liquidation bankruptcy, meaning that in just a short period of time, all of your debts are wiped out. Let me back that up. All of your eligible debts are wiped out. Some debts, as some of you probably already know, you just can't get rid of in bankruptcy. Chapter 7 is not going to take care of tax debts in most cases. It's not going to wipe out your child support obligations, and it's not going to wipe out a settlement agreement between spouses in a divorce. It's also not going to take care of fines. So if you owe the MVA or CCU or Easy Pass or one of these other lovely entities around Maryland, Chapter 7 is not going to ultimately resolve that for you. Chapter 13 is what we call a reorganization bankruptcy. What we do in a Chapter 13 is that we change the terms of your debt to allow you to do different things. Okay? The typical Chapter 13 lasts somewhere between 3 and 5 years. Obviously, it can be shorter, but it really can't be longer. So, what are the other differences? Well, we talked about the different types of debt that can't be discharged in a Chapter 7. Well, some of those actually can be discharged in a Chapter 13. We recently had a lady come in to see us. She really needed to file bankruptcy because of a pending lawsuit and because of a potential garnishment. When we started looking at her case, we said, this should probably be a Chapter 7, But as we began to dig a little bit deeper, we found that she had over $80,000 in Easy Pass violations. Don't ask me how. She also had a number of other MVA fines, which were causing her both her driver's license to be suspended and her registration. So she couldn't even get to work. Chapter 7 would have given her some temporary relief, but ultimately she would still owe over $80,000 in fines to the state of Maryland. That just wasn't going to do it for her. So Chapter 13 was the answer. Why? Because fines and penalties to CCU, MVA, and Easy Pass can all be discharged in Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Some lawyers call it the super discharge, meaning that it can discharge everything that a 7 can, plus some other things. We talked about the fact that you can't discharge child support in a Chapter 7. You can't discharge it in a Chapter 13 either. However, you can discharge an obligation under a settlement agreement from a divorce in a Chapter 13, which you would not be able to discharge in a Chapter 7. One other major difference between Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 is the ability to alter the terms of a loan contract. Okay? Typically we see this in this situation with cars. So let's say you own a car and it has a loan against it, and let's say you owe $15,000 on a car, but the car is only worth $7,500. So there's what we call negative equity. Some loans in Chapter 13, if they're old enough, we can take the principal balance of that loan down from that $15,000 down to the $7,500, which would drastically not only reduce the monthly payment, but also the time horizon in which that debt gets paid. Now, as in all the topics that we discuss, some of these things may not apply to you. Every case is going to be different. That's why you need to consult with an attorney to determine what your best option is. So if you want to just discuss this with me, please give my office a call. Schedule an appointment. I'll be happy to help. My name is William Grafton with the Grafton Firm in Towson, Maryland. Thank you.